All right, welcome to today's episode. Look, guys, I've just dropped my son off up in Kurabel, and this is one of the more spectacular lookouts in Byron Bay. I don't know if you're going to be seeing it. It's a little hazy out there today, but often you can see all the way down to the lighthouse. Let's continue on our journey that we covered yesterday, the first of the 4 steps, which is established. And that was in that journey where we're going from a business that is not working, that's chaotic, where your systems are just not working, and you think, you know what, I'm getting poor results, I've got poor people, I've got poor processes, this is no fun, super stressful, super difficult, long hours, going through to a place where you've realized that systems create results. Like that's straight up, you're like, oh my goodness, every time I want a result, I can create a system, and that means that I will get that result. It's pretty fun. Like suddenly business becomes consistent, your profits are there, your people actually enjoy their work. And yesterday we went through and looked at that first step in this, which was establish. We're looking at what needed to be done, who was doing it, when it needed to be done, and how it was to be done. So let's move from that into opening up into today's section, which is to simplify. Because what you're going to find is that when you get this systems game, you're suddenly going to have the capacity to do far more. Like literally, I ended up running like 5, I think I was trying to pull off 5 things at once, which was nuts. Even with the power of systems, it's like, whoa, hang on, this is crazy. So I had to let quite a few of those go. But the possibility was there. Like literally, it's like, oh my goodness, hey, I am doing 3 times as much in the same available time with consistency, with significantly reduced amounts of time where I was trying to work out what I was doing. But still, the idea here is to simplify. Why do I say that? Well, as you go into this game of creating systems, what you really want to do is go, okay, what am I aiming for? What's my target here? And first up is just to get that first system. Get one working system. There's no point in expanding into other systems if you don't know how to create the first one. But let's say that you do know how to do that. Well, you've got to look at what's working right now. Like what is working in your business? This is helpful to know. This means you've got either something that is a system, it may not be documented, but at least it's giving you the right results. And so that's a relatively easy one to go along and go through the documentation and go, okay, great, we know what's happening. Here it is codified into the system. Next up, you've got to look at what's not working. Like what should be working, but it's not. You're like, man, we are struggling in this area. We should be getting these results, but we do not have anything that's actually creating these results. And we've covered this before in past episodes. Either you don't have a system that works, or you have a system that's being executed variably, giving you variable results. So that's what's not working. Okay, so on one hand, we've got what's working. Secondly, we've got what's not working. Next up, I want you to look at, hey, if all you could have was a limited number of results in your business, what would those be? Like not everything that you could do, but rather what are the essentials? What are the critical results that if they were there, then you would have a business that was thriving? And it might just be like one sales funnel and one advertising mechanism and one fulfillment pathway, just to limit it and say, hey, if all of those 3 were working, then I have a business that at least is consistently bringing leads, consistently converting, and consistently fulfilling. So those might just be where you are. You could say, man, we could do this and this and this and this and this, and you're actually going to have that capacity. But straight up off the bat, the idea is to limit yourself, to simplify. And perhaps there's some back-end stuff as well, like your accounting's on point, your team's on point, you have a system for hiring, you have a system for managing your team, you have a system for managing your numbers, a system for creating your optics and looking at, hey, what needs to change? But the idea here is to simplify down to the minimum number of results that if you were getting those, then your business would work. That's your first win. So let's recap. So we've looked at what's working, we've looked at what's not working, and then out of both of those, cutting down to the minimum results that you need. And out of this, finally, you can create what I call the MVS, minimum viable systems. Minimum viable systems. Like, you are going to see businesses, and your business might be right like this right now, where there's missing critical systems, and so the results are just not there. And then on the other end is a business that's trying to do way too much, and they're spread too thin, even if they have their systems game on point. But somewhere in there is a little Goldilocks zone, a little sweet spot. And this is the minimum viable systems, MVS. And you need to define this, because this is going to set your target. And you can now know where you are heading. Like in our analogy from yesterday, we talked about Google Maps and establishing where you are right now. But this minimum viable systems establishes where you are going to go. From there, you hit that point, great. You can redefine from there and go, okay, great, where do we want to go now? But that's a game that only opens up after you've opened up this first door of getting your minimum viable systems up and running. If you need help with this, head over to systemio.dev. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're on the audio, head across to the Facebook page and check out the video. This is where I live. It's really not, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's not spectacular. Sometimes this area is just rainbows and dolphins and off the charts. All right, that's all I got for you today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue into the third step. I look forward to seeing you then.